To begin with my presentation for the day, my speech for the day, as Rick mentioned, my topic is called The Road Taken, not to be confused with the Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken, which has, if you've ever read that, it's a bit melancholy. It talks about a little bit of sadness and things that you didn't do, opportunities you missed, a road you didn't take. Mine is more of the road that I did take and what's led me to this point in my life today. I've grouped the road taken into four different categories. One, and I think this is something that anyone in their lives can relate to, decisions that affect you, a road that you take that you don't choose. Secondly, a path that you do choose. Third, happy accidents that affect the road that you may take. And the fourth is obvious choices that takes you down a certain path that are really, in my mind at least, no-brainers. The first of these is the decision that is taken for you, a road that is managed for you by someone else. And I'll weave this into my life story a little bit because I didn't do this with my first speech, which was supposed to be the icebreaker where I really talked about why I joined Toastmasters instead of talking about myself. So what I'll do today is kind of as Rick mentioned, a icebreaker part two. I grew up in the Midwest in Southern Illinois in an area near St. Louis, Missouri. It's a town of 16,000, the kind of town that you hear people like Bruce Springsteen or John Mellencamp singing about. A little town, not a lot of opportunity, not a lot of variety in this kind of town. It's the kind of town where this region really is where my parents grew up. It's where their parents grew up. It's where their parents settled when they came from places in the world like Austria or Germany or Ireland. So it was really my parents that were faced with the crossroads. All I had to do is make a decision whether to get in the moving truck or not. Ultimately, I did. We moved to California, to Sacramento, when I was 13. And that was the first real path that I took. Again, it was a decision that was made for me. The first crossroads I faced in my life came a few years later. I mentioned this last week when I was the Toastmaster. I talked a little bit about my love of travel. That had gotten underway when I was in my mid-20s and working at a job I really didn't like. There was no career path. I was living in the Marin suburbs and nothing was going right. I was exasperated. I made the decision to move out of the country, to quit my job, move to Ireland, where I got a job as a bartender, of all things. Met a great group of people, had stories to tell. I wish I would have kept a diary because every day was a new adventure. After a time, it ran its course. I came back, settled in San Francisco, smack dab in the middle of the dot-com technology boom in 1999. This ended up being a great decision because one of the happy accidents, the first in my career, took place where a friend of mine who knew I was looking helped me find a job in a technology company where I started my career in public relations, which has landed me a great career, which I continue to this day. On the topic of happy accidents, those happened a few other times. Again, led me to a career here at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. I mentioned before, I'm a Boomerang employee. The first time I came to work for Hewlett Packard was when I had made another crossroads decision. This came a few years later after my first crossroads decision, where I was living in San Francisco, again, in a job that really didn't have a lot of career mobility. I was stuck. And I decided it was time to move back to Sacramento. My family is here. And I took that choice and made that jump to move here after starting a business. I started my own public relations business. I made the move after quitting my job in San Francisco and landed here at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Hewlett Packard at the time, after another happy accident took place where another colleague that I had worked with let me know about a job that was a perfect fit for me. The happy accidents are things that I will never forget. And that led me down a number of times down a road that otherwise I might not have taken. I can talk about another fourth category, the obvious choices. Sometimes in life, it may be a choice that you don't really have to make. It is a choice. It is a road that you take, but it's an obvious one. An example would be in what year was that? 2009, I met my wife. A year later, I asked Katie to marry me. That was an obvious choice. That was a path I certainly took, a road that I went down, but it was an obvious one for me. As it was a few years later when we decided to have children. That was a path you could either take or not take. And we decided to take that. And in 2014, William was born. In 2019, our other son, Elliot, was born. So those are really the crossroads, the happy accidents, the obvious choices, and sometimes the decisions that are made for you that really make up the road taken. In my case, it was the road taken. Those paths led me to where I am today, and I am extremely grateful and thankful that they have taken me where I am today. Thank you, Toastmasters.